Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Julie from StoryADay here, and I'm recording this in the middle of April. I had to think about that for a minute there. Recording this in the middle of April, so you know what that means. I am completely obsessed with StoryADay May, which is just around the corner. It is, as you will have heard me say, our 15th year. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that will help you if you're thinking about participating in the StoryADay May challenge, or even if you're thinking, that sounds insane, I'm never going to do that. I would encourage you to think again, because it's possible there's a way for you to participate in the StoryADay challenge that you haven't thought of yet. And that is something I say every year. I don't think I say it enough though, to make your own rules. Now you could decide to sign up for the challenge and only commit to writing one story a week, or commit to writing 3 stories a week. I like the challenge because I came up with it, but I also like the challenge because when you have to write every day, it does something to your brain, and you end up walking through the world, looking at the world in a kind of creative desperation, where you find story ideas all over the place. You are intently listening and observing to everyone around you and everything around you. How would I describe that? Ooh, could I use that in a story? Why is that person moving that way? And it trains you to move through the world as a writer. And if you know that you're going to write every day, it frees you up, because you're free to write something that's not perfect. You're free to get right to your writing without ever stopping to think, should I write today? Am I in the mood to write today? Would it be better if I wrote tomorrow? No, you're writing a story every day. So hey, however, for some people that is impractical or sounds like a nightmare. So for you people, for whom I have some sympathy, because I'm a bit of a rebel myself, and I don't even do my own challenge properly. I certainly take Sundays off, and I have been known to do less than that in the challenges. And if you just want to write a story a week and that is going to push you, here are some ways you can do that. You can decide that you are going to brainstorm, or you're going to look at all the prompts from the week and choose one of them that speaks to you the most. I think anytime you introduce choice though, there's a danger, because then you're trying to look for the best one, and best is subjective, and choice is it muddies the waters. I don't know if I'm really recommending this, but you could get the 7 days worth of prompts and look at them and go, which one speaks to me, and decide to write it. You could write it in the spirit of the challenge, starting and finishing a draft of a story in the same 24 hours, or you could decide you're going to take all week to work on it. I don't think it achieves the same thing as the regular challenge if you do it that way, but I'm not your boss. And you get to do this however you want. You can use all of the inspiration and energy from the StoryADay May challenge and community and use it any way you want. So I do recommend that you make up some rules before you join us, and you can decide to write on days when you're inspired. That would be like my least favourite ways of recommending that you do it, because I think that doesn't teach you any of the lessons I want to teach you in StoryADay, and any of the lessons that have really worked for people over the years. So you could be like, I'll write when I'm inspired, and I will guarantee you won't do any writing, and you'll stop even checking my emails by day 8. So not recommending that, but it's up to you. If you think that'll work for you, I'm not your boss. If you would like me to be your boss, then I'm going to say, set a number of days that you're going to write and stick to it, and write a story starting and finishing it in the same 24-hour period, because closing the loop on a story is incredibly satisfying, and leaving it open is incredibly agitating. And there's one thing that you don't need in your life, and it's more anxiety. So write the story, finish the story, let it go. If you want to, you can decide that you're going to set rules for week 1, with the understanding that if you don't like the rules that you set for week 1, say you said you were going to write every day, and you say that was no fun at all, then if you set your rule before the challenge that you get to set your rules during the challenge, pick an interval like that. Pick a week or 2 weeks, or probably no less or more than that, one of those 2 options, and say, you know what, every week I'm going to reassess, did those rules work for me last week, or do I want to mix it up for next week? And then stick with those rules for 7 days. And if that's working for you, stick with it for week 3 as well. If If you change more often than that, you're not going to really learn any lessons from it. But if you stick with something, even if you're like, oh, that was a terrible change, I shouldn't have done it, but I'm going to stick with it for 7 days anyway, because I'm going to learn that it's more than just today. Now, if you are a person with a uterus, you will notice a uterus that is still doing the thing it's put there to do, you will notice that you have cycles during the month. And doing a month-long challenge, there are going to be some weeks that are like, this is super easy, I'm so full of energy and I'm flying. And there are going to be weeks where you're going to look at the page and go, if I can put 3 words down today, that's going to be an epic win. So I think the challenge is really useful for people like us as well, because you get to spend a whole month writing and noticing your energy levels, your creativity levels, and bearing in mind that it's not all about willpower. Your energy does ebb and flow. Your creativity does ebb and flow. And that's true throughout the seasons as well as throughout the weeks. So use the challenge and stick to it to learn some things about yourself as a writer, and then apply those lessons to the rest of your writing life. Do not sign up for the challenge and then miss a day and go, that's it. It's all over. I failed another thing. No, you learned something. You learned that Tuesdays are a bad day for you to write, or you learned that day 4 of your cycle is a terrible day for you to write, or you learned that you can survive making a commitment, being less than perfect, and you can come back the next day and keep going. That's a wonderful lesson to learn. You will learn things like you can write a terrible first draft. You can let yourself do that and you will survive and you will come back and keep writing. These are skills and lessons that we all need to know as writers. Otherwise, we're just going to be wannabe writers. You're never going to write if you're not taking the rough with the smooth. And you have to learn to get over the things that are going poorly. So those are some suggestions for you on how to be involved in this challenge on your own terms. Set your own rules. Now, as the challenge gets closer, you will notice that I will send out lots of emails. And if you have signed up for daily emails, you will be getting those from the 1st of May to the 31st. Now, this year, I am also offering something that I've only ever done for the Superstars group before. What's the Superstars group, Julie? I'll tell you more about that later. But if you've been looking for a group or a home where you can be a writer and maybe learn some stuff, show up and write with people, hang out and ask your writing questions, and just generally be welcomed as a writer, you're going to want to know more about Superstars. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about right now, if I can even remember what I'm talking about right now, is the fact that this year I'm going to do a thing for everyone that I have only done for the Superstars before, and that is share the prompts as both videos. They're going to be written, they'll all be free, that's what comes into your inbox. But if you want an upgraded experience, I'm going to share a product, I'm going to put it together as a product for you, where you'll get a handbook, which will be a digital ebook. I suppose there's no other kind of ebook, but it'll be an ebook, but it'll also link to pages where you'll get a video from me talking about the prompt, and there'll be transcripts and audios that you can download and listen to on the go. There will also be in there each day of the challenge. This handbook will include a warm-up exercise specific to that day's challenge, which is meant to take 5 minutes, and there will be a brainstorming session that will warm up your writing, that will relate specifically to the challenge for that day as well. Now, what's the difference between a warm-up and brainstorming in my head and the way I'm doing it? I will tell you. The warm-up is free writing. I'm going to give you a prompt. So if the prompt is about party, I will give you a warm-up exercise, which will be set a timer for 5 minutes and write about a party that you went to. It's just you shaking out your writing muscles every day, and it's related to the theme of that day's prompt. The brainstorming exercise is also going to start with set a timer for 5 minutes, and it's going to invite you to, it's going to give you a series of questions about each day's prompt that will invite you to explore your ideas about it. So I'm shortcutting all of the voices in your head that are like, I don't know what to write today. What could I write about? I could write about anything. So I'm going to prompt you with questions about who would you like to be in this story? What's an issue that could be really fun for you to write about related to the topic of today's prompt. So for each of the different prompts of 31 days of the month, I'm going to give you the warm-up exercise to get you just limbered up, and I'm going to give you brainstorming questions about that specific day's prompt, and I'm going to encourage you, and I'm going to provide timers for 5 minutes for each of those, so that you don't spend all day on your warm-up and you get into the story as quickly as possible. You can do those at the beginning of the day and then let your mind mull over it for the whole day, or you can do them right when you're ready to sit down and write, because they're only last 10 minutes of your writing session will be you answering these questions, getting your writing done and like warming up. And by the time you've done that, you will have lots of ideas for today's story. I'm going to make that available. It's not available yet. I'm putting the final touches on that, and I'm going to make it available in the run-up to the challenge. I realize there's not much run-up left, so I will be emailing you when that's available. It's also going to be something that you can buy and keep. You're going to be able to keep it and come back to it. So if you're not able to keep up with the challenge or willing to keep up with the challenge, but you would like a handbook full of writing prompts that are designed to lead you through the process of writing short stories in particular, or creating backstory for your novel or whatever, you can have this as a resource so that any day during the year when you want to sit down and write, you're going to be able to open up that digital book, and you're going to be able to look at the prompt, and then you're going to be able to click on a link and go over to the website where you'll get the warm-up and the brainstorming exercise. So I'm actually going to put a bunch of extra prompts in there, so there will be 36 prompts in that handbook, so that you can write 3 stories a month and still have a week off every month if you want to spread it out over the month instead of doing it day by day in the challenge with us. Obviously, you get to keep this, so if you have done the challenge and you want to go back and revisit any of the prompts or use the extra prompts anytime throughout the rest of the year, you will have that. So that's what's coming up. And then I will also be talking about the Superstars group, which is our club here at StoryADay, where we go deeper with writers, and we do workshops and we hang out and do writing sprints. And if you want somewhere that's going to just affirm your right to write and your membership in the club of writers and your place where you can go to ask all the daft questions you need to ask, I'll be talking about that soon, but I'm not going to talk about that today. But I'll be opening that up before the challenge as well. So it's up to you. There's so many different ways for you to engage and participate. You can just sign up for the free challenge. You can get the upgraded experience with the handbook and get even more inspiration for you each day. And that's a resource that you get to work through at your own pace or do during the challenge. And you can join us in the Superstars group if you've been looking for a home for you writer. So lots of ways to engage. I hope you're getting excited for the challenge. I am. I'm really excited I've put together this year an experience. It's not a random collection of writing prompts. Every week has a theme, and each of those themes are designed to help you with an aspect of being a writer and writing short stories. So even if you're not primarily a short story writer, all of the techniques we're using each day are going to inform your other writing, whether it's memoir or personal essays or novels. Everything that you do day by day in StoryADay May is going to be something that is going to be a useful lesson for you in your larger writing life. So I hope that you will sign up, and I hope that you will participate. and keep an eye out for those extras that I'm putting together and offering and opening up the doors for you this year. It's been a wonderful experience over the past 15 years, not just getting to know writers, but going deeper with them and having this Superstars group and the courses that I run. The iWriter course will be back in the summer, and doing our critique weeks and things like that, all of which I tend to open up to you periodically. It's been wonderful to double down on the writing and the writing community. It was a surprise to me that writing was not as much of a solitary activity as I thought it was. The actual writing can happen on your own, but being a writer is so much better when done with the company of others, most of whom are also introverts and don't actually want to hang out with you very much, but when they do, you're going to have some great conversations. That's what I have for you this week. Excitement, story a day, tell your friends, and hopefully that's got you excited, and I hope you write something this week, because there's nothing worse than getting to story a day and not having warmed up because you were saving all your good ideas. Ask me how I know. All right, that's it for this week, and I will see you inside the challenge in a couple of weeks. Thanks for listening. Why not come over to the blog at storyaday.org and check out this week's writing prompts and articles. And in the meantime, have a great creative week, and of course, keep writing.